Marcella Pack are still with me. Should footballers stick to football? Friends of mine like Gary Lineker are very vocal about lots of issues. Are they right to do that? Should they just stick to what they do? This has all come to a head, of course, in the Qatar World Cup. Gary launched BBC's coverage with a bit of a rant about Qatar's record on human rights. Gary Neville at ITV ended it with a rant not just about Qatar, but bringing in the UK's record on strikes and so on at the moment, which made the front page of the Daily Mail today. So is it just worth mentioning we've got a current government in our country who are demonising rail workers, ambulance workers and terrifyingly nurses. So in our country, we've got to look at workers' rights and so on and so on. So bringing in our record here on rights as well. And Rishi Sunak said it should stick to football. Well, Pat, what do we think here? Ava, what do you think?
I knew you'd go for me first. I knew you would.
You're one resident football expert.
Look, I don't think that politics is the preserve of the politicians. I don't understand why a football pundit is not allowed to talk about it. I think it's fundamentally undemocratic to claim that he can't use his platform for that, for what he said. And actually, he made a really, really valid point, which is that for some reason in our country, we don't think we need to pay the nurses, but we do look at Qatar and we criticise their human rights.
Well, I do agree about Western hypocrisy. I think one of the reasons Gary Neville and Gary Lineker both got criticised was they both worked, both Garys, for Bain Sports in Qatar and taken their money, but want to go there for the World Cup and criticise them. They would argue, well, we go there, we shine a light and so on. Other people think it's hypocritical. Esther, what do you think?
I'm happy you said that, he made a good point, because I was just wondering, would you be against it if he didn't make the point that you wanted him to make? This is the thing.
Right.
We're always happy to say that they're allowed...
I think that's a bang-on point.
We're happy to say, they're allowed to have their opinions when they agree with you, but if he was saying, actually, the government's negotiation with the strike workers are just perfect.
If Gary Lineker said all the things that people on the right liked, they'd all love him.
No, but most of our broadcasting is what people on the right like. I'm sorry, but
absolutely
the right totally dominates.
Not on this show.
Yeah, well, come on.
So I have lunatics on the left like you here. Christine.
Well, look, I know absolutely nothing about football, but I think there's a world of difference between the two Garys. Gary Lineker is on BBC and he's paid for by the licence payer. Gary Neville, as I understand it, is on Sky.
ITV and Sky,
ITV and Sky. That is not funded by the public purse, so frankly, it's up to them. If they don't mind him being involved
That's a very good point, actually.
That's up to them. But as for the Qatar business, I mean, it would have been... If he's making points about the evils of the Qatar regime, it would have been much stronger if he'd made it in advance and said, I am not going.
And not taking the money.
I am not
I also think, by the way, I went to Qatar. Unlike most of the people criticising it, I went to Qatar and it was a brilliant experience, that World Cup.
I think
you can have your issues with some of their human rights issues, as I do, but as a World Cup, it was fantastic. Yeah. And I would think we should be more World Cups in the Middle East, frankly. And we've got to take our moral halo off in this country and stop pretending that somehow we are so morally pure, only we can hold sporting tournaments. Because here's a shock for you, England. We're not.
We are slightly above Qatar in those stakes.
Maybe, but if I was at the Euro final last year, you wouldn't be saying that. Nice to see you three. Thank you very much.